Interesting story out of Politico called Hillary's Hit List. Drama, okay. It's written by Michael Cruz, and he talks about how they keep a list of people who have been naughty and nice to the Clintons. And they most certainly did after their 2008 loss. Now, of course, they ran against Obama, Hillary Clinton did. And at the end, as they were packing up, they made sure to numerically assign who has been good to them and who has been bad to them, and the degree to which there will be consequences. Upsides and downsides. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the details. Cruz explains, it meant that when asks rolled in, she and Bill would have at their fingertips all the information needed to make a quick decision, including extenuating, mitigating, and amplifying factors, so that friends could be rewarded and enemies punished. Okay. So, for example, they explain that a mitigating factor is John Lewis, who's a legendary African-American civil rights champion and now a politician. And when he switched over and voted for Barack Obama, they're like, okay, that really hurt, but we get it. You're not going to get a 7. 7 is the worst score. But, you know, we still got our eyes on you. Now, this begins to explain a lot of things. Bernie Sanders, I would be shocked if he had an enemies list, is not going to punish people. So they think there's no consequences for crossing Bernie. There's consequences for crossing Hillary Clinton. She's been keeping that list for 6 years. Santa Claus ain't got nothing on her. She knows if you've been naughty or nice for the last couple of decades. So that is an enormous factor in a politician's mindset. Secondly, all those people who crossed her before, the John Lewises of the world, the Congressional Black Caucus, Claire McCaskill's mentioned in the article, are all very strongly supporting her this time around. Hey, you know, we burned you last time. Sorry about that. And I know that you did favors for us in the past, and we know that we got to pay you back. I'm glad none of this seems corrupt at all. But, oh, good. Oh, it's Bernie Sanders. We don't like him. We're the establishment. He's anti-establishment. He would bring real change. And we're all politicians who are powerful and don't want change at all. Otherwise, that might challenge our power. Great, Hillary, we're back on your team. Put us back on the nice list. So that's how this game is played. Now, the details of it are interesting. They explain further. Almost 6 years later from that 2008 election, most Clinton aides can still rattle off the names of traitors and the favors that had been done for them, then provide the details of just how each of the guilty had gone on to betray the Clintons as if it all had happened just a few hours before. The data project ensured that the acts of the sinners and saints would never be forgotten. Okay. Look, in some ways, I get it. It's hardball, right? Carrots and sticks, and I understand that a lot of politics is about that. But also understand that when cabinet positions are being handed out, and by the way, a lot of the people who switched and supported Obama got cabinet positions, right? And when decisions about policy are made, will being a progressive be part of the decision-making process? I hope, though I'm not often sure. Will politics be a part of the process, and who was good to them and who was against them? You better believe it. Bet your donor's bottom dollar on it. All right, more details. There was a special circle of Clinton hell reserved for people who had endorsed Obama or stayed on the fence after Bill and Hillary had raised money for them, appointed them to a political post, or written a recommendation to ice their kids' application to an elite school. On one early draft of the hit list, each Democratic member of Congress was assigned a numerical grade from 1 to 7, with the most helpful to Hillary earning 1s and the most treacherous drawing 7s. So there's two parts to this. One is, here are people who've been in politics for a combined 4 decades, Bill and Hillary Clinton. They've been keeping a naughty and nice list for 4 decades. They've been doing favors for people for 4 decades. So when it comes due, are you surprised that almost all the superdelegates went to Hillary Clinton? Are you surprised that none of the senators endorsed Bernie Sanders? He doesn't have a list like this. So all those favors piled up and now get cashed in. That's actually the more benign part of the story. The more troubling part of the story is that little quote there in the middle, who had they had raised money for. Hey, remember, we got you those legalized bribes from corporations and other places and our friends and all the important Democratic donors that had endorsed us and given us money, Bill Clinton as president, and Hillary Clinton as senator, et cetera. We had helped you get those legalized bribes, right? Now you owe us. Now, it's one thing if you're playing politics and you want to do carrots and sticks. It's another thing when bribery is thrown into the mix. Donors, super PACs, etc. Now, if Bernie Sanders doesn't have those big donors, the millionaire and billionaire donors, he doesn't have the super PACs, how's he going to bribe these guys? He can't. And that's why he doesn't have almost any establishment people supporting him. They're like, this guy comes in here, oh, you're more progressive, are you? Yeah, but where's my bribe? It's so convenient that they legalized the bribes so that it wouldn't be a problem for any of them. They're just super PACs now. Oh, my donor gave me millions of dollars. That's not a bribe. That's just his freedom of speech. Okay. I'm going to quote a person here we don't normally quote, a YouTube commenter. Okay. On a different video we done about Hillary Clinton, Ebot F wrote what I thought was a great YouTube comment. Now, yes, I do read them from time to time, and I think it applies to this story, so I wanted to share it with you. He says, the Clintons aren't just politicians anymore. They are often the kinds of politicians that are called super politicians. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. Now, that's a great allusion to the super predator line from Hillary Clinton, and the video wasn't about the super predator line either, okay? So I love how educated our audience is. I love how smart you guys are and how you weave all of this in. And overall, though, he is right. They are super politicians. And they maybe no conscience and no empathy, but they got a list. And if you're on their, let's just say, hit list, you could add one more letter to the beginning of that, you're in for a world of hurt politically, and good luck trying to get donations next time around. And that's how this Washington works now. And that's ironically why Bernie Sanders has all those supporters behind him, because they're so sick of this. Meanwhile, in Washington, they still point to this as a point of pride. What great politicians the Clintons are. Yeah, that might work in the short run. It might even work this time. But soon, all this nonsense will come to an end, and that movement will reign supreme. I know no one in Washington believes that right now. They're like, oh yeah, the movement against corruption. High-minded liberals, that'll never work. We'll see. wolf-pac.com.